Mike, this is quite a scoop. You write in your article that 2 state election databases in recent weeks have been compromised. Was any voter information compromised?
In the case of the 2 states were Arizona and Illinois, and in the case of Illinois, about 200 up to 200,000 information on up to 200,000 voters was exfiltrated or basically stolen by the hackers. Now, in some cases, that would include personal information about them. This could have been like many hacks for criminal fraud purposes, but the real concern here is in the aftermath of the disclosures about suspected Russian government hacking of the Democratic National Committee and other political organizations. It has really heightened concerns about the potential that of some kind of cyber threat to our elections. And this is something that has been taken very seriously by the Obama administration. Jay Johnson, the Secretary of Homeland Security, had a conference call with state election officials on this very issue just a couple of weeks ago. And what we reported today is just 3 days after that conference call, the FBI sent out this warning to state election officials, urging them to beef up security of their election computer systems.
Is that sufficient? Based on the analysts that you spoke to, can they beef up security?
Well, there are steps they can take to enhance security, but the broader look, in the cases of Arizona and Illinois, which were, as we report, what triggered this FBI warning, this involved the penetration of election voter databases. The broader concern is the election itself. That's conducted at the state and local level, and in about 40 states, there are optical scanning machines that are backed up by paper ballots. So there is some safety net there. But in 6 states and parts of 4 others, including Pennsylvania, which is, of course, a crucial swing state, there are electronic voting machines in which there are no paper ballots, and people who are concerned about election security say that is a vulnerability. That is something that could be hacked.
Where is the FBI as far as the investigation of who is behind the attack? You mentioned the suspicions over the Russians and the DNC hack. Are there any clues to point to who is behind these hacks?
There are clues, but no firm conclusions yet. I did speak to the Illinois Board of Elections General Counsel, who was briefed just recently by the FBI on this, and they told him it was foreign hackers. You had a cybersecurity expert who's been examining those Russian attacks, says he does see certain parallels between the way these hacks were done and other Russian state-sponsored cyber attacks. One of the IP addresses disclosed in the FBI flash alert does link to Russian criminal hacker forums that have surfaced before. So there are clues, but look, reaching hard conclusions on attribution is very difficult in this world, and we don't have any, we're not there yet on exactly who perpetrated these attacks.
I guess, as you allude to, Mike, the bottom line is, how concerned should the American voter be about this? There is a primary, for example, in Arizona tomorrow, and the November elections are right around the corner.
Right. Look, I should add, just adding one more element that's potentially vulnerable. In up to over 30 states, there is voting by internet for overseas absentee and military ballots. Yeah. So there's another area where hackers could create disruptions. Look, we don't know how serious a threat this is to the election itself, but number one, it is something the Obama administration is taking very seriously. They are considering a request from Congress and others to declare voting systems part of the nation's critical infrastructure, like dams, like the power grid, that need federal, that can get federal protection. It would still have to be a request from the states, but the federal protection, cyber security experts can provide protection to, for the election.
That seems to make sense. What resistance is there to that?
I think that there are some concerns. You see it from some of the states where they don't want the federal government taking over the election, to federalize the election. That's these have traditionally been and have been state and locally administered elections, there is always some suspicion about a federal takeover. The Georgia Secretary of State raised that issue after the conference call with Jay Johnson a couple of weeks ago. But I think this kind of FBI warning and alert has got to be pretty sobering for a lot of people, and may cause some rethinking on the part of states that have been a little bit wary of asking the federal government to come in.
All right. Chief Investigative Correspondent Michael Isikoff, always great to see you and hear from you. Great report.